What's up, everybody? Tim here. Welcome to a special edition of Inside the Vinyl. This week, I want to discuss an album that came out this past Friday. It came out on Friday, June the 19th. It's a new album by the band Whitesnake. And I wanted to unbox it here because it seems like people really like these unboxing videos. I did one on this Rat box set over here not too long ago that already has 1,500 or so views. I thought that was pretty good. And this is a release I've been looking forward to for a long time. So let's go ahead and take a look. So here is my Amazon box. Now, before I bust this out, I want to say it's not Amazon's most shining moment with me. So, here it is the Monday following the release. I should have had this album on Saturday, and I did get a copy of it, but the one Amazon sent me was all beat to shit and folded and beat up, and it was put in a box with a protein powder thing, and it was just it was all beat to shit. So I called Amazon and had them resend me a new copy. So I've got it here. So here's my Amazon box. I already kind of I might have cheated a little bit and already opened it up, but here we go. All right, so this is the new Whitesnake album. It is called the Rock Album, and this is actually part of a 3-record series that should be coming out over the next few months. It's the Red, White, and Blues series. So the white version came out first, and this is the Rock Album. The Red album will be an album of Whitesnake love songs and ballads. And then the Blues album, obviously, will be more blues-oriented stuff. So, again, this is the Rock album. And this is a compilation of songs, from ranging anywhere from 1984, slided in all the way through an unreleased track from last year's Flesh and Blood. They're all remixed for 2020. And I guess they're remixed so everything sounds current and everything sounds the same. So even though they're songs from 36 years of Whitesnake, they all have a similar sound. You've got all the, you've got the huge rock hits on here. You've got Still of the Night. You've got Here I Go Again. You've also got Love Ain't No Stranger. Those are probably the 3 biggest hits on the record. You also have a lot of other stuff from some other albums that maybe people aren't as familiar with. One of which is being 1997's Restless Heart. Now, this was a Whitesnake album that was originally supposed to be a David Coverdale solo record, but due to record company pressures, he had to release it under the moniker of Whitesnake. That album had never been released in America, and to this day still has not been properly released in America. This rock album does include 4 songs from that album. The title track, Restless Heart. It also includes Anything You Want, Can't Stop Now, and a song called Crying. So I'm kind of hoping that maybe the other records follow suit, and maybe somehow or another we get all the songs from the Restless Heart album between these 3 compilations. But again, they're all remixed. They all sound great. Now, I will say, I'm not always a huge fan when bands go back and remix things to try to make things sound current. Sometimes it kind of takes away from the original sound and the original feel of the original song. But there are some exceptions, and this is an exception. I was a little nervous about this when they first announced it, and even the first couple of tracks that came out, I was still kind of on the fence about it, but when my order went through on Friday, last Friday, the release date, I did get the MP3s from Amazon, and I did listen to them in various formats in my car, home, whatever, and it sounds amazing. I mean, just fantastic. Some of the intros might be a little bit different. There's some other layers in some of the songs, maybe that were cut out of the originals. And again, the drum sounds and everything else are really, really ramped up on this. And it really gives it a nice current sound. So, again, if you're like me and you're a little weary and you're a little nervous when bands want to go back and remix their stuff and re-release it over and over and over again, which Whitesnake is guilty of, I will say that this release, won't disappoint you. Now, that being said, I want to, go inside the vinyl because, again, that's the name of the show. So, again, here's the cover of the record. Pretty basic, Whitesnake, in the standard logo with the snake on the front. I can't remember the name of what it's called when it's raised, but if you run your fingers across the snake right there, it is raised. I can't remember what that's called. It's not embossed or anything like that. It's like the opposite of that. But anyway, yeah, I mean, the lettering and everything is all raised. That's really, really cool. So the back of the album obviously has the track listing for the 2-disc set. It also has 4 different pictures of different incarnations of the band. One picture dating, starting with 1984 right here, and if you go, I guess in this case, this would be right to left. You know, you start with the incarnation of the band from 1984 and go to the current lineup of the band. So, you know, and again, it has all the track listings and everything else. So let's go ahead and open this up. Now, I want to say I was really excited about this, not only because I'm a huge Whitesnake fan, but because I think the vinyl, if I'm not mistaken, is also white. But we'll open it up and we'll see. So let's see if I can get this open. Yeah. I may have to edit this part of the video down a little bit so nobody has to just sit here and watch me, you know, try to fight with plastic. Now again, Amazon, I'm still not real happy with it because the corner of this record isn't in the best shape either, but I've waited long enough. I want to see it, you know, and I want to see what's in here, so, you know, we're going to check it out. All right, cool. So I've got it open, once again, you know, and I have not seen the inside of this record. The damaged one is still sitting out in my kitchen, ready to be sent back. I didn't open it. I didn't do anything with it because I wanted to be surprised on camera with all of you. So again, here we are. Now let's see what happens. You know, it's got a gatefold. So let's see what happens when we open up the gatefold. That's really, really cool. So, you know, what you see here, and what I'm trying to hopefully convey here, you've got what appears to be, you know, the different albums that are represented on here, starting with 1984 Slide It In, 1987, Slip of the Tongue from 1989, the two different covers for the Restless Heart that I was talking about earlier, neither of which, again, have ever been released in America. His solo record, Into the Light, and then the more current records, Good to Be Bad, also Forevermore, which has, you know, represented by two different things, and then last year's Flesh and Blood. So in addition to all the known songs that are on here, previously released songs that were remixed, there is a new song called, I think, Always the Same, which was a leftover track from last year's Flesh and Blood. It's a great tune, so check that out. But again, it's got songs, you know, from every album from 1984 all the way through current, so that's really cool. You don't see that a whole lot when bands change record labels multiple times. You don't really get compilations so much that, you know, encompass a band's entire career. Not to say this one does, because it doesn't include anything from 1978 through 1982. So you don't get quite everything, but you do get a pretty good mix of the band's history for the last 35, 36 years. So that's the gatefold. It's also got all the credits, and it's got some interesting information over here, some interviews and some different comments about each song, so check that out. If you're like me and you like to read the liner notes, that's pretty cool. So let's pull out one of the records and see what we have. All right, so, you know, nothing too fancy about the sleeve, just a black sleeve. It's got the anti-static, you know, type sleeve or whatever, which is really cool. So now, here's the part I've been waiting for. The white vinyl Whitesnake record. Fancy. That's very fancy. All right. That is very fancy. So here's, you know, the white vinyl Whitesnake record with the Whitesnake logo in the middle. You flip it over for the track listings on this particular record. So that is very, very fancy. I'm very impressed with that. So, yeah. So let's see. I'm pretty sure if I go to the other side, it's going to be the same, but you never know. So let's go over to the, you know, let's go over to the other side and have a look. Ooh, this one's a little bit different. So still the same white still the same black anti-static inner sleeve, and of course when you pull it out, once again, fancy. Yeah, you know, on this one, of course, you have the track listing and everything that's on this record. But the other side of this, instead of having the sticker that one did, this one actually has the snake in the middle of it. Hopefully you can see that. That's pretty fancy. Yeah. I'm a big fan of, you know, I don't buy everything out there, but I am a pretty big fan when they do something pretty cool with the vinyl, like, you know, it'd be like blood colored or whatever else. But for some reason, when I saw white vinyl, I was like, man, that's going to look pretty cool. So I really wanted to check that out. So hopefully in going with that theme, that means that, you know, when the red album and the blues album come out, that, you know, it follows the same theme. You know, of, you know, in those cases, red vinyl or blue vinyl. You know, so in addition to the two vinyls that are in here, there is also a lyric sheet. So, the first side, obviously, on the front side, you've got the lyrics to the first record, and on the second side, you have the lyrics to the second record. So that's pretty cool. Pretty cool. Nice to have a lyric sheet in there, in case you don't know the words to a lot of the songs on here. When that comes out. So check this out. So I'm going to put that here, so you guys can just kind of look at that as I go along, maybe. I might have to do a little editing here. Okay, so that pretty much does it for the Whitesnake album. But I do want to provide a little bit of bonus footage. Something else that I recently purchased that actually got here before the Whitesnake record did, or at least before my proper Whitesnake record did. I want to go ahead and unbox this too, because I think this is a special edition that I think, much like the white vinyl on there, will be pretty cool. So here's my Amazon packaging. This particular record was properly packaged, which makes me happy. So I'm going to go ahead and rip it open. Maybe. Damn it. All right, here we go. All right. So I am going to pull out this, which is Deep Purple's I think this came out in 1977. This is called Last Concert in Japan. So this is a live album of a concert on what would be Deep Purple's final tour of the 70s. They broke up in 1976 and then got back together in 1984. This is part of the final tour for the album Come Taste the Band. This features David Coverdale from Whitesnake on vocals, Glenn Hughes, John Lord, Ian Pace, and then Tommy Bolin on guitar. So some interesting history about this album. Again, this was originally released only in Japan. This really didn't come out anywhere else. And for good reason. It's not terrible, but it's not the greatest live album in the world. I bought it mainly because I thought it was cool. A cool collector's item to have. But apparently Tommy Bolin, who had a pretty serious heroin addiction at the time, got really, really high and apparently fell asleep on his arm or something like that, to where his arm was numb and he was unable to play a lot of his guitar parts during the show. So when you listen to this, like songs like Burn, where the main riff would normally be played on guitar, you pretty much just hear John Lord playing it without Tommy Bolin. So the band really never wanted this to come out, but I guess they were already signed to it in Japan for it too. So this is the Last Concert in Japan album, originally issued by Warner Brothers in 1977. But in this case, much like this Whitesnake album, has been reissued by Rhino Records. That would be like the back catalog record label for Warner Brothers labels. So, that being said, again, I thought this was a cool collector's item. And apparently there is a full release on one of the Deep Purple labels of the entire concert, as this only has, I think, 8 or 9 tracks. It's not the full concert. But let's go ahead and rip this bad boy open and see if there's, anything going on here. Spoiler alert, there is. So, let's rip this thing open. Oop. All right, come on. So I don't know if you could read what the sticker on the front of the record said, but again, this is Deep Purple, and this is in a long line of reissues by Rhino, and most of these editions are on purple vinyl. So let's take a look and see what that looks like. So there's no gatefold here. It's just a sleeve. So, here's the cover of the album. And then on the back, it has the band members and maybe some liner notes. So let's go ahead and pull the sleeve out. Okay. So nothing really to speak of so far, just a basic white inner sleeve. Again has the anti-static inner sleeve, so that's pretty cool. The label in the middle is your standard Warner Brothers flair that would have been on the original release from 1977. But let's go ahead and pull the record out and see what we have. Fancy. Nice purple vinyl here. I think this is 180 gram. So I wouldn't say as I'm impressed with this as I was the white vinyl on the Whitesnake record, but that's still pretty cool, since it being, so I've got a Deep Purple record on purple vinyl and a Whitesnake record on white vinyl. I don't know about you guys, but that's pretty cool to me. So just wanted to open this up too because, I ordered this record as well and hadn't opened it yet. So why not give you guys a little bit of bonus footage, for the 20 or 30 of you that might watch this. Or, if it's like all my other, unboxing videos, who knows, maybe 1,500 or 2,000 of you will watch it. That'll be pretty cool as well. So, hope you enjoyed it. Hope you want to, this makes you want to go out, maybe, if nothing else, at least pick up the MP3s of the Whitesnake record. Check out the other videos on my channel. Go ahead and subscribe. I've got I've got my Lost Classic series that includes Coverdale's former band, Deep Purple. Also, Lost Classics on Kiss, on Foreigner, Bad Company. I've got some ones coming up where I'll probably, do some Thin Lizzy and some other things. I've also got some concert footage out there from Welcome to Rockville in Jacksonville for the last few years, as well as the Exit 111 festival that I went to back in October up in Tennessee. So if you're sitting at home, stuck at home with nothing to do, no concerts, no nothing due to COVID-19, check some of those out, and the next best thing to being at a show is watching a show online, at least for right now. So again, hope you enjoyed it. Check out my channel, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Peace out.